everybody, how's it going? John Boy here, and we are out at Tractor Supply. Hopefully you can hear me over all this wind, but like I said before, I did get permission to film out here, and I'm going to go inside because we got a storm coming in, and I don't want to be out here while it is. So let's take a walk inside and see what we can find. Okay, so here we are inside Tractor Supply Company, and the first thing I wanted to tell you guys, let me grab my phone here, is if you go and you want to join the Tractor Supply Neighborhood Club, you can get some cool stuff. Like today, in my thing, I get a free packet of seeds. Oops, this way. So the seeds I'm going to go ahead and pick up because we love lettuce at our house. I'm going to pick up some salad bowl lettuce. Let me put that back. But not only do they have the seeds and everything pretty cool here, they got some cool stuff that I told you about and that I was interested in getting. So let's go take a look. Now, one of the first things I wanted to get, I needed to get a sprayer. So let's go pick up a sprayer. Let me turn my thing around here. Now, sprayer, do I want something that big? Nah, the garden's not like that. I could get something like a 1.5 gallon. And actually, you know what? See, they got a 2 gallon for $16.99. They got a 1 gallon or a half gallon for $9.99. But I think something like this will be good in our garden for putting the Miracle Grow and stuff down. So let me go ahead and I'm going to grab one of these. Oh my gosh. Bam. Here we go. And if you're into canning, they got canning supplies and all kinds of cool stuff. But the really fun stuff's around the corner. So if you got a big thing, and that's just something I might look into, they got these things called soaker hoses, and it lets the water kind of leak through the outside of the hose, which I know normally you don't want, but that's really good. You know, it can keep your ground moist and stuff like that. So I might get myself one of those maybe next season. And then, you know, you can hook up something like this. So if you want your thing watered, you know, at a certain time of the day, you can put a faucet timer on. It'll just automatically turn on and water your plants for you. Or if you got like 4 raised beds, like I'm planning maybe next season, I could buy something like this and it'll automatically water it for me. And they got all kinds of like manual timers and all your extensions and all kinds of fun good stuff here. Oh, I could go with a watering can instead. Nah. So I did wanted to show you one other thing. Let's take a walk to the back of the store here. Wanted to show you where I picked up my wire, and of course, you know, with it being their sales that they got going on, the Spring Black Friday, I believe everyone's calling it. The wire was on sale, so I ended up paying a lot more for the wire than I needed, but they got all kinds of wire. So if you wanted to do the poultry net that's like this, I mean, look at how big this is. It's like the full length. I mean, I could have bought one of those and just did one wrap on my wire instead of doing 2 layers. But I got the poultry netting that you can see back here. And of course, this stuff is on sale for about 15 bucks off from what I paid for it earlier in the season. So sometimes it pays to wait. But anyways, it's a quick little trip here to Tractor Supply for what we needed. Let me do a little flipperoo here. And I'm pretty happy. I like coming here. I just wish it was a little closer to my house. So, anyways, I'm going to go get checked out here and get back to the house. Hey, guess what today is? It is delivery day of the dirt. Yes, we finally get to get our dirt in to our raised bed. But first, we got to prep that raised bed to get this dirt ready. If you remember, like I told you, I wanted to put some of the chicken wire mesh on the ground underneath of it. And to make sure that we don't get any weeds growing through it, I need to kind of dig up the grass and stuff. So let's take a hop into the backyard and see what's going on there with the raised bed and where I put it out at. So here we are in the backyard. There's the raised bed in the yard. Yay! So, what am I going to do with this? Well, let me show you. I still have all of the leaves and grass and stuff from the winter. So I'm going to have to get my shovel out and dig all this up, get the twigs and the branches and everything out. This is where I'm going to place it in the yard. I know it's kind of in the middle of my yard. You know, if you look, I got my wall there, and then I got my neighbor's yard there, and then, you know, my shed and stuff over there. So I think this is a good place. It gets sun most points of the day, except for very late in the day. It does get some shade from the house, but I think it'll be enough sun. I grew stuff in this area. In fact, I grew stuff up on top of the shed last year, right there, and actually on top of that little shelf by my window. And stuff grew pretty well in my backyard, so that's what I'm going to do. So let me go ahead, get this prepped, and I'll hop back with you in just a second. Okay, so we're back. I got all of the grass out of the inside, and I laid down my chicken mesh. As you can see, I kind of went up the sides, and that'll sit a little lower once I get the soil in. But the soil should hold this down. It's doubled up in the middle, and again, with everything on the sides, I think that should be high enough that no animal could dig underneath of it. So my next step is to go and get all the soil that you saw in the front of the house to the back of the house. But I got one little problem. I just went and checked out my wheelbarrow, which is actually one of those yard carts, and one of the plastic wheels snapped off of it. So I'm gonna have to move all this dirt into this, yeah, there we go. That way, this raised bed using 5-gallon buckets from the front of the house to the back of the house. But this actually might be a good thing. For you see, I got a 50-50 mix of mushroom manure and topsoil, and they were supposed to mix it on the truck for me, but when they dropped it off in my driveway, I noticed it was not. They just put the one layer on, put the next layer on, nobody mixed anything. The only mixing that got done is whenever they dumped it, which wasn't much. So this will give me an opportunity to go ahead and mix this up while I bring it in. I'll bring back, you know, a couple bucketfuls and, you know, fill it up a little bit, and then, you know, mix it up, bring back a few more bucketfuls, mix it up, bring back a few more bucketfuls, mix it up. Now, one last thing I want to point out to you. You notice I don't have any of my fence enclosures on here right now. I'm going to go ahead and put 3 of those on, the 2 long sides and the 1 short side. I'm going to use the 1 short side to walk into to dump the soil. The reason for this is like I said whenever we built it, and I'll show you. Turn my camera back around here and step inside the box. Oh, and one other thing. If you notice, I cut the corners out of the wire so that they don't go into the corners. Now, you have to put your fence posts in, and at least 3 of them. Like I said, leave yourself so that you can pack that dirt up against, because remember, those poles are going to stick out from here all the way to the ground. And if you don't put those in while you're putting your dirt and packing it in, when you go to pull it out, or when you go to put it in, it would be hit the dirt. And when it hits the dirt, then, well, you won't be able to get your fence enclosure on. So make sure that you cut out your chicken wire if you're following along. Make sure you cut out an area for that, and then put your fence pieces on. Pack your first couple things of dirt up against those in order to make holes. And that way, whenever you take your fence pieces off, you'll be good to go. You'll be able to pull those in and out. So, time for me to get to work. I got a lot of a lot of dirt to haul here by hand. Oh, okay. Well, that's about half a ton of dirt that we carried by hand. I had my son help me out, so big thanks and big shout out to him for helping me shovel and carry most of this. Now, it was half a cubic yard of mushroom manure and half a cubic yard of topsoil, as I mentioned earlier. We have some left over, which is good. I do have my containers that I talked about doing the container gardening for the lettuce and some of the other items that I'm going to do the container gardening in. So I might mix that in with some regular potting soil. Being that I'm going to do a container, I don't want to have, you know, really rough soil. As you can see, like, I got chunks and dirts and stuff here that since this is a topsoil mix, you know, you don't want that. You want a nice smooth clean soil whenever you're working with your lettuce and stuff like that. So like I said, I might mix a little bit of that in just because it does have some good fertilizer and stuff with the mushroom manure. I still have to get my hose out. As you can see just from sitting here, that this is really starting to dry out, the topsoil and the mushroom manure mixing together. Just like you saw in my seedlings, I showed you that as I watered the seedlings, I had to add more dirt to the tomatoes and a few of the plants. You're going to have the same thing happen to this as it rains, and as I water it down over the next couple of days, and I'll keep mixing it up probably for 3 or 4 days. Give it a good water, give it a good mix. You know, break the soil up, get all these, you know, bigger chunks, you know, gone and out of the soil, or as many as we can. If it doesn't rain that day, I'll spray it down, take a rake, take a spade, a shovel, or whatever you have, get it nice and mixed up. If you notice that your levels are really starting to drop, which I do expect, maybe 2 or 3 inches of drop in the soil, add more soil as you see fit. Maybe you get lucky and yours doesn't drop as much. You know, you never know. You just kind of got to look at it, guess, and say, hey, you know, that looks like it's dropping. I need to add more soil. Now, you do need to let your soil rest, or once you get it in and you're watering it and you're doing your stuff, after your from the time you put the soil in to the time you plant your plants, you want to give it anywhere from 10 to 14 days to allow the soil to settle and rest, so that you don't put your plants in, then your soil settles, and then all your roots are exposed to your plants. That would be bad. It could get any type of plant disease, even trying to add the soil afterwards. So I won't be planting anything for anywhere from 10 to 14 days from today. But like I said, over the next 2 to 3 days, I will water it and I will mix it up to help get it to settle faster. So that's about it for today. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. A lot of cool things. We got the updates on the plants and everything with the seedlings. We got surprise soil delivery. I wasn't expecting it, so good to see that we got that in there. And in the next episode, I will definitely be planting the broccoli outside. So I thank you all for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you really like the video, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you all next time. Happy gardening.